Top of the morning to ye, everybody. Welcome once again
to
Ask Pirate Pay, the movie discussion show. My name is Ken. I'm your host alongside my co-host, Andy.
Oh, hi there, Ken.
Aaron Gobra.
How are you, boyo?
Your accent is good enough to be in the movie Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
That's right. I've been practicing.
The band Darby O'Gill and the
I've
Little
been practicing a very long time.
As you may have guessed, or if you heard last week's episode, you know that this week is our St. Patrick's Day episode.
Yeah, a little belated.
But it's still March as we're recording this.
Yeah.
I'm still drunk. Everything's fine. So yeah, we're doing a trio of Irish-ish films.
Yeah.
Irish adjacent at least.
Yeah.
We'll be doing Darby O'Gill and the Little People. And we'll also do an In America and Once.
Yep.
So, a trio of Irish films in honor of St. Patty's Day. So everybody strap yourselves in and let's get ourselves going, right?
All right, let's do it, Ken.
All right, let's go chronologically like we usually do. So let's go back to 1959 to
Holy moly.
the Walt Disney film Darby O'Gill and the Little People, directed by Robert Stevenson. I honestly had no idea. I'd never heard of this movie until I had started seeing the band Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
What a great band.
They
too.
are fantastic. Las Vegas legends. I mean,
Las Vegas been around for over 2 decades.
Unbelievable. But before I had heard the name of the band before I had heard the name of the movie.
Wow.
I was not aware of this movie at all.
Yeah, my dad used to get drunk on St. Patrick's Day and cook corned beef and cabbage and put that movie on.
Oh, nice. Interesting. Live action Disney films from this era or from really the whole 50s through 80s are a huge blind spot of mine. Like I never watched any of that stuff growing up as a kid. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or
Swiss Family Robinson?
Never.
Apple Dumpling Gang?
Nope. The only one I loved the Herbie movies. My brother and
Herbie?
we used to watch all the Love Bug and all the Herbie.
What about Old Yeller?
Actually, I think I watched that in school. Like we read it when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and we read the book, and then they showed us the movie.
Ugh.
But yeah, I didn't watch it.
Traumatizing, you poor kids.
I can do it to a kid, and even out of school or in school, right? What's the difference? Who cares? It's still traumatizing some poor bastards. But yeah, so just live action Disney movies, not a thing that I had seen a lot of. So this one, not surprisingly, had missed me.
I actually appreciate and like 50s and 60s live action Disney stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was way better than today's live action Disney stuff.
Well, I mean, today's live action Disney stuff are just remakes
It's just
of
rehash.
animated.
Yeah.
Remake of animated movies,
It's terrible.
right? Which is horrible. I mean, certainly I'm guessing neither one of us has seen the Snow White remake, but
nor will I.
I don't think we need to.
No.
So yeah, at least back then they were trying. They were trying to do
making original stories.
Yeah, exactly. And this one starts with the
Mary Poppins was a live action.
Yeah, actually, I mean, Mary Poppins is awesome.
Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah, I've never seen that one either.
Ooh, that's a good one. I really like that one.
Mary Poppins, fantastic. I love Mary Poppins, but that's again. I don't think I watched Mary Poppins until I got to college.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I watched that when I was a kid.
Yeah, like a friend of mine. It was a friend of mine in college. It was one of his absolute favorite movies, and I was like, "Come on, Mary Poppins!" Oh, and they did right around that time. They did the Simpsons parody. Remember the Sherry Bobbins episode of The Simpsons? Yeah. So I watched Mary Poppins to get a better, and I hated that Simpsons episode the first time I saw it, and then I watched Mary Poppins. I'm like, oh shit, this is actually a really good send up of Mary Poppins, and Mary Poppins is awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Oh, man, this one is kind of all over the place.
It's a little bit all over the place. Yeah.
It's like
I rewatched it for the first time since I was a kid. I don't think I've seen it since I was a little kid.
So man. The reason I started the show off by saying Irish adjacent is this movie, it kind of feels like let's make a movie about leprechauns, so it has to be about Irish people. But other than that, we don't really care anything about Irish people. Sean Connery is in it. He plays an Irish guy. He's Scottish. The lead actress, she's from England. All of the...
Yeah, I don't think in the 60s they gave much of a shit about
right.
representation,
and,
really.
You can just tell from the accents in this movie. Hey, how are you?
I did think Darby O'Gill sounded very Irish.
Yeah, I actually tried to look him up and I couldn't find out where the actor was from, but he definitely did sound Irish. And the the Leprechaun King too. I think
Yeah.
he sounded like he was at least
Yeah.
authentically Irish. But so yeah, I feel like my problem with a lot of what's going on in this movie is my problem with a lot of big studio movies from this time, where it's just like everything is so slickly overproduced and so we make everything feel super inauthentic. Like the music in this movie, the allegedly Irish music in this movie, it feels really like shitty. Like the perfect example for me, where this movie really lost me right off the bat, or not, like fairly early on, is when Darby falls down the well and winds up in the little people's homes. And why just the point? Why are there no female leprechauns? Why are all leprechauns dudes? Like, what is that about? That seems very strange.
I don't know if they addressed that.
Yeah, why? Like, they're the little people, but there are no women who are leprechauns. There are no female leprechauns. Really strange.
Well, they're little Darby and the little men.
Yeah, very weird. But anyway, that's not really my point. The way it lost me is, so Darby, they give him a Stradivarius because he's a fiddle player, and he starts playing this rollicking Irish fiddle tune, right?
Yeah.
But then, like 5 seconds into him playing, the sound of him playing the fiddle is completely washed away in like a full orchestration. Like there are unseen drums and brass instruments and shit, and it's
just it's a musical
but
thing.
It sounds so shitty. Like it's like I would so much rather like the leprechauns are like doing these merry dances while he's playing the fiddle, right?
I do want to ask you though. Yeah, it's definitely a bit silly. The whole movie's a bit silly.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it being silly. I just have a problem.
It gets a little. It feels like it's for kids, kind of, and it's a little wacky.
But it feels kind of soulless to me. Like I would so much rather listen to just the sound of a fiddle and watch these leprechauns do their jumping around, dancing ridiculousness than listen to this full on Disney orchestra where you can't even it doesn't even really sound like a violin is being played. It sounds like a whole string section is playing the melody. I don't know. It just kind of bums me out. And then like later on, there's a song that Sean Connery is singing, and it's about an Irish girl, and it just sounds so crappy. Like it just I don't know. Like, couldn't they have hired Irish people to work on this movie? It's the 50s. I don't think there was that much of a stigma against Irish people by this point, right? They were
I don't even think it was about stigma. I think it was just like because I think it's based on a book, I think, or stories about Darby O'Gill. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, we're making an Irish picture.
Yeah.
May make the fiddles go deedly deedly.
Yeah. I don't know. I
don't think they cared much
about
being authentic.
You're saying it's silly. I wish it were sillier. I wish the whole thing felt less like made by guys in suits. I wish the thing felt more authentic. You know what I mean? I wish it were more authentically goofy rather than, like I said, it just felt really soulless to me. Like I don't know. It's supposed to be.
What did you think of the visual effects when he went to the cave with all?
I actually think the visual effects were the best part of the movie.
I do too.
Like I was thinking that the stuff where he's talking to the Leprechaun King and it's like he's big and the Leprechaun King is small.
Yeah.
That looked just as good in 1959 as like when Gandalf is talking to Frodo in 2002 or whatever.
Like that forced perspective is really mind-blowing.
Yeah, like it looks really good. And like some of the other
stuff, especially when they're doing it with like a big giant room full of leprechauns.
Yep. Yeah, I thought that looked really cool. I actually really liked the look of the banshee that came in later. I mean, it doesn't look realistic, but
it's still kind of creepy.
Yeah, it looked really creepy. It's like weird lights on the screen, and it's just like using the technology that they had to make
the carriage look cool.
The carriage that's taking him to the afterlife or whatever.
Yeah, that
looked really cool too. Yeah, I was totally on board for them to make it look that cool in 1959. That's really cool. Like that's really, really impressive to me.
Yeah,
that was definitely the best part of the movie, I thought. But yeah, I don't know. Like there's a spot where they're in a pub and these two Irish dudes are toasting each other and they're like, Slante. It's just like, come the fuck on. Like, what are you doing? Can't we We don't have an actual Irish person to be a consultant on this film. Come on.
Well, you know where the sets were and then where it was filmed and everything, right?
No, where?
California.
Yeah, of course.
Like 2 ranches in California.
Right, of course. Obviously, they're not going to Ireland to make this movie.
No, but it looked good. Like the outside scenes look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it looked nice. It looked like a nice place to be. Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange movie. It's a very strange movie. Sean Connery obviously is the most recognizable person in the movie by a mile.
I don't think he was then, though.
It was like 2 years before the first James Bond movie. So
I didn't think it was that close.
Yeah, the first James Bond movie is 61.
Oh, okay.
It's 59. But
I was always told by people that this was his first movie. It was not.
Oh, okay.
He had done like 10 or 12 movies before this.
Interesting. It's watching this movie, it's kind of surprising that he went on to become a movie star. He was like a pretty dude, like in this movie. He does not have a lot of charisma. He doesn't seem very charming. He's just like a strapping, handsome man. Like he could be just about anybody. You know what I mean? Like I thought the Janet Monroe who plays Katie, the daughter, I actually thought she was the best actor in the movie. I thought her character was more interesting, and I thought she was, I thought
Darby was pretty good, and King Brian.
I mean, yeah, I guess they're trying
to outmatch each other.
They're doing what they're like. What is the deal with King Brian? What is his motivations? Never make any sense to me. Right? Like at one point, he tricks Darby into making his second wish. Right? Because that's his whole thing. As soon as he makes his 3 wishes, then he has to let Brian go, right? Yeah. So Brian tricks him into making his second wish, and then King Brian just immediately starts laughing at him. But then like 2 minutes later, he's like, "All right, now I'm going to help you get your daughter to fall in love with this guy." Like, wait, are you trying to fuck with this guy, or are you
trying to get away? Right? He's trying to persuade him to make his wishes so he can get away. So he can be free.
I guess. I don't know. Like you said, it's a silly kids movie. I'm probably reading too much into it. I guess I'm nitpicking so much because I wasn't really all that entertained by the movie. So I didn't have anything to like. I wasn't carried away by the story. So all I'm doing is sitting there picking nits. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, at least the visual effects.
Yeah, like I said,
they're good.
It's not without its charms. It's just I don't know, man. It's
there was some scenes like where he picked up King Brian. It was clearly like a doll.
A doll, yeah. But even that was kind of cool, right? Like because they got a doll that's moving and stuff. I don't know if he was a marionette or whatever.
And how the thing was moving in the bag when he was carrying it around. It was fun.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun.
Yeah. I don't know. This is probably not a movie that you should watch for the first time when you're 45 years old. Like,
yeah, probably not. Like I have some nostalgia attached to it.
Right. So if you have no nostalgia for this movie, it's if childhood memories are not factoring into it, and it's just like. I don't know. It's just not really a lot to recommend.
But I thought it was kind of cool, like how at the end where King Brian, like the same way he tricked him before.
Yeah.
He tricked him again, but this time he tricked him to save him.
Save his life. Yep.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of sweet.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not a bad movie. It's like, it's just bland and not particularly interesting to me. Like, it's just, I didn't think it was all that much. I didn't think it was a lot of fun. I didn't think it was, I don't know. It just didn't do anything for me. It was a movie that took an hour and a half to watch. That is how I can describe it.
Yeah, it was short.
And there is that. So, something to be said for 90 minutes. Get in and get out and tell your story.
So, what would you give Darby O'Gill and the Little People Can? A pass, pirate, or pay?
This one's going to have to be a pass for me.
A pass?
Yeah, it's a pass.
I'm going to give it a pirate.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a pirate. I don't think I could recommend... I don't think I could recommend a pay on this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, current Disney movies are not great either, but there are certainly many better kids movies that you could be watching.
Many better kids movies. I don't think there's any better current live action movies though. That Disney makes.
Sure, but you don't have to go all the way back to 1959, right? Just watch, go watch Mary Poppins. It's way better.
There you go. Or Bedknobs and Broomsticks. That's my favorite.
So watch something better. All right, our second movie today is 2002's In America, directed by Jim Sheridan. This movie, I remember when it came out. This was like when I first started watching the Oscars, I think, because this movie got nominated for a few Oscars.
Okay.
But I never watched it. But I always thought it looked interesting. It was one of those things that I was like,
2002, right?
Yeah, 02.
This is the year that Darby O'Gill and the Little People, my band, started.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, tying it all together. But yeah, so I was always, I thought this movie looked interesting, and then it just became one of those things that I missed and never came around, and so now we're getting into it.
I'll tell you how I found this movie.
Okay.
I was watching, I think it was Ebert and Roper at the time.
Yeah.
And they gushed over it.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's weird. So I went to the theater and saw this.
Nice. So this is a story of an Irish family, a husband and wife, and their two daughters. They had a third child who has recently died. And they're just kind of dealing with it. And they emigrate to the United States to come to New York. They come in through the border illegally.
And what is the year again? It's like 1980 something?
So I couldn't tell. So they go see E.T. in the theater. So I thought it was taking place in 1982, which is when E.T. came out. But like the little girl has a camcorder that is way too modern for it to be 1982.
Yeah.
So I can't
maybe
tell
it was
when
the E.T. re-release, maybe?
I guess so. I cannot tell.
E.T. got re-released a couple years later, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I honestly was trying to figure out when this movie took place, and I couldn't really tell. Like, if you had told me, like, any time in the 90s, I guess it would be my guess. But if you had told me that they meant it to be, like, contemporary to 2002, I would have believed that too. Like, it didn't necessarily feel like it couldn't have been that old. I mean, nobody has cell phones, but these are a lot of, it's a very poor neighborhood they're living in. So it's not like people would have had cell phones in 2002 then anyway, right? So I don't know. I couldn't really tell. But yeah, so they move to New York. They go into this building full of junkies in Hell's Kitchen, and they're like living on the top floor. They have this like giant loft in the colorful New York, and it's like, and this is just their lives as these things are happening. So the thing that struck me most about this movie is the acting. Like,
it was really good.
Everybody in this movie is fantastic. Like, everybody. Like, kid acting is a thing that is usually really bad.
Right.
But the two little girls in this movie, especially the older one who's like 10, I think, like, and she has a lot of emotional weight to carry in a few scenes.
Yeah.
Like, just really, really good. And Samantha Morton, man, I don't understand. I guess her look is a little strange. I just don't understand how she didn't have a way better career. It's really unusual to me. Like, she did this and Minority Report in the same year. They both came out in the same year. And she's fucking great in both of them.
Yeah.
Like, this movie, she's really, really fantastic. And she got nominated for an Oscar for Best Actress. Like, really, really good. She is dynamite. And her husband's played by Paddy Considine. He's really good in it.
He's fantastic in it, yeah.
And they meet a neighbor who's played by Jaimin Hunsu. And he's dying of AIDS, and he's really good,
Which makes me think it's the 80s, too.
Yeah, right. I know. But again, I get it. There's no way this little girl's camcorder came from the 80s. There's just no way. Like, if you look
at the camcorder's throwing everything off.
It's tiny. It's like this 10-year-old girl is holding it, and it's the size of her hand.
All right. We'll fact check that later.
There's just no way. I just don't understand it. So it's really, really well acted. And there are some scenes in this movie that are just so like emotionally gripping and powerful. There's a scene where, so they go to this street fair carnival, and they had just seen E.T., and the little girl, the young girl, she sees that like you can win an E.T. doll if you play this parlor game, right?
Yeah.
So all the dad has to do is throw tennis balls into this jug. And if he throws 7 of them in the jug, then they win the E.T. doll. But every time he misses, so he has to start off by paying like $2 or whatever, $2 for a throw.
Yeah.
And then every time he misses, he can either give up and lose the money, or he can keep doubling down and doubling the amount of money that he's put up. And if he if he gets all 7 in, then he gets all the money back. But if he runs out of money or gives up before he gets all 7 in, then he loses the money, right?
Yeah, I've never heard of this. This sounds really predatory.
Yeah, extremely predatory, like crazy. So like the dad he gets like the first 3 tennis balls in, and like, yeah, we're doing this thing, right? So then it's just like, but then it's just like, okay, $2, all right, $4, $8, $16, $32, 60 was like. And then it's just like, so
now he has to get the money back.
He has to get the money back, but he also is like, they're this family. They mention just briefly that the mom was a teacher in Ireland, but it's like, she can't get a job teaching. So now she's working at an ice cream parlor. And the dad's an actor, but he can't find any acting jobs. So he's driving a cab. And it's just like, and this family has been through so much. And it's just like, I can't let the kids down at this point. It's just like, he takes this burden onto himself where it's just like, I can't let the kids down. Just like, give me the rent money. So there's like Samantha Morton, she pulls out this envelope with like a huge wad of cash.
Yeah, and at this point, even the carnival barker is like, come on, buddy.
Yeah, and everybody is watching, and it's just like, and it's so heartbreaking. It's just like, holy shit. And he gets up to like $256 that he's got riding on this one throw. And it's just like even the movie's narrated by the 10-year-old daughter, and it's just like she mentioned something about how ridiculous it is. Even a 10-year-old can see that like we have $250 riding on a $30 ET doll.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's like so. I was so tense and like I was like while the scene was going on. It
is one of the tensest movie scenes in movie history.
Yeah,
like and when you explain it to people. It's a guy trying to win an ET doll. You know, it seems real low stakes.
Right.
But man, it's done so well.
Yep. I was crying by the time it was over. It was just like, I was like, holy shit. It was so good. It's so good. So well done. There's so many scenes in this movie that are just played really, really well. Like,
and subtly and it just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's a scene where, there's a lot of talk about how, you know, the father is like dead inside after his son has died. Like he can't feel anything anymore. And, you know, the daughters are like, well, you don't really play with us anymore like you used to since Frankie died. And it's like, so then there's a scene where he's playing with them, right? He's doing this giant thing where he's like fee fi fo fum, and he's blindfolded and he's like chasing after them, and they're screaming and hiding, and it's like this fun family thing, right? And then it turns into this thing where it's like the couple are reconnecting. So the mom like gives the daughters some money and sends them down to the ice cream parlor where she works, so she can have sex with the father. And they're having sex, and the whole time she's like keeps the blindfold over his eyes. And then they finish having sex, and she starts crying and like what's going on? And she just turns to him and she's like, Frankie had your eyes, you know, the dead son. Yeah. And it's like she's blindfolding him while they're having sex, and it's just like this whole thing is happening. It's like, fuck, man, you can just feel the huge weight that this family is suffering under just in this one scene. It's just really like fantastically well written and well acted. It's really good. It's a really well made movie. Like I really, really, really liked it. You know, it's like, yeah, it hit me really hard emotionally. Just a really like,
me too.
Just really excellent. Really liked it. Yeah. Yeah. Like there was it got a little much at the end. Like at the end, so Samantha Morton's character gets pregnant again, and there's like doctors are telling her that she shouldn't have another baby because she's got something wrong with her uterus or whatever. And it's like, if you carry the baby to term, it could kill you. So she is giving birth, and the baby comes early, and it's like touch and go as to whether or not the baby's going to live. And then while this is happening, Jaimin Hunsu is also dying of AIDS. And there's like a spot where it's like he dies so that the baby can live. It's like it gets a little much a couple of times.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like you said, it's really subtle. Nothing is played huge. Everything is small, but you can still feel the stakes, even though everything is played so small, you know? And it's not like a downer of a movie either. It's got a lot of fun. It's got a lot, like, for the whole, like, first, I don't know, half, 2/3 of the movie, because it's told from the kids' point of view, the kids are just, like, kids. They're having fun, even though they've been through this trauma. They're still like very positive, fun kids, right? You know, there's a scene where it's their first summer in New York, and it's like, man, it's so hot and humid and oppressive in here. So then Paddy Considine's like, all right, well, I'm going to go get us an air conditioner, right? And he just like goes to some junk pile or whatever and gets this giant air conditioner, and he's just dragging it through the streets of New York. And, you know, everyone's like, ah! Honking horns and, you know, screaming and cursing at him. And he's just, you know, and he's just trudging along getting this air conditioner. And it's just, but the whole thing is played fun, right? It's just like, and I think that's like, you really feel the whole family dynamic in a lot of unspoken and cool ways. That's just a testament to how well the thing is written, I think. So yeah, in America, definitely. I'm a fan. I'm definitely glad.
I'm glad.
This one.
I couldn't believe you hadn't seen it.
Yeah,
because I think we've been talking about this for years.
Yeah, definitely a positive experience. I'm very glad that I finally got around to seeing it. And like I said, the lack of a movie career for Samantha Morton is really strange to me. It's this thing. Like,
actually, all of that. Patty Constantine too. Like, he's had a pretty good career in like little character acting jobs,
right,
everywhere. You know.
Yep.
But he was so great in this. Like everybody, man.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really good in it.
All right, Ken. So in America, is it a pass, pirate, or pay?
In America is definitely a pay for me.
A very high pay for me too.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay, and our final movie today is 2007's Once, directed by John Carney. So I'm going to need your help on this one.
Okay.
I don't know a lot about this movie, and I assume you do.
Yeah.
So this is a story of the swell season, right? These two singers they're coming together. So was the movie made to like document how these two people came together? Or did they make the movie and then the band get formed after that?
I'm not positive of the order.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure that the movie was a concept.
Okay.
And
then they found these two singers to make the movie?
I think so. And then the swell season came after, I think.
Okay. All right.
I think.
Because it's really weird, right? Because all of the songs in the movie are written by the two actors who play the two singers in the movie.
Some of the songs in the movie were written by Glenn Hansard way before the movie.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it was like a melding of...
Which is actually what happens in the movie too, right? Like, because there are the songs in the early part of the movie he wrote them before that he even got together with it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay.
But I want to say that the director was also either the director or was in The Commitments.
Okay. Because Glenn Hansard was in The Commitments. I looked that up.
Yeah, I think he was. But I think the director might be the same. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't look that up.
The director has something to do with The Commitments.
Okay. It's really strange, right? Knowing that they became a band who are still together now.
Yeah, I'm actually going to see them in September. Yeah.
It's just, it feels like a movie that is like documenting the creation of this band. But then at the same time, it also feels like...
Yeah, I think it was written. I think it was a written movie it's
very strange.
It was just kind of a melding of like, hey, I have these songs. What if we did a movie about this? You know, like...
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been afraid to watch this movie for a while.
Have you?
I have, yeah.
Why have you been afraid?
So...
Because of how beloved it is?
Yeah. So you and Josh and like basically our entire circle.
Yeah.
There's a huge chunk of music that you all love that I can't get into.
Okay.
Right? Like, I talk about how I don't like Truck Stop Honeymoon, and everybody looks at me like I just shot their dog.
Yeah, that is pretty dog shooty.
Right. Like, it's insane. Or like, you know, all of the fucking hipsters, the dour dudes in trucker hats with acoustic guitars who play the music that you constantly tell me is not the same as country music, but it all sounds exactly the same to me.
It is great country music, is
right.
What it is.
Yeah, exactly. But you guys are all telling me how different it is from.
And I don't think any of the guys that I talk about wear trucker hats.
Okay,
none of them.
Well, whatever. These fucking hipsters with their, you know. And it's just like it's just not my thing. I'm just not into this kind of music.
All right,
you know?
Fair enough.
Everybody loves this movie. Everyone I know that has seen it loves it. Everybody thinks it's great. And so it's just like, God damn it. It's going to be this movie about music that I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
And it's going to just really irritate the shit out of me. And I'm going to not like it. And then everybody's going to listen to this and say, God, Ken, what an asshole. He doesn't. Why can't he?
I knew that was a possibility.
Why can't
and I don't know if we're steering this into the ditch or not right now. I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah. So I was right.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, Ken.
I know.
Ken.
I know. See? This is what I'm saying. This is why I was afraid of this fucking movie. So this movie really and it cheated me. It cheated.
What did it do?
The first 8 minutes of this movie, right?
Yeah.
Where it starts off, you see Glenn Hansard, he's out there on the street busking with his acoustic guitar.
Does an awesome song.
And there's a dude, like a junkie guy, standing next to him, and he keeps getting closer to the guitar case where he's got his money, right? And Glenn Hansard he's playing his song and he just stops playing the song, and he's like, don't you fucking do it. I'm just tying my fucking laces. And he's like, the guy's bending down to he's pretending to tie his shoes. He's like, don't you fucking do it. And you can tell that he's getting ready.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, the guy grabs the guitar case and makes a run for it. And Glenn Hansard starts chasing him down. And he as he's running after the guy, he takes his guitar and hands it to a random person on the street. He's like, hold this for me. And he's chasing after the dude and he fucking catches up with him. And it's like, this is so cool. It's such a cool opening scene, a cool way to introduce his character. He catches the guy. And the guy, he's like, next time if you want money, just ask me for it. And the guy's like, all right, can I have $5? And he just gives him the money. And it's just like, this is such a cool way to introduce this character.
Isn't it his brother though? Aren't they related?
Maybe in real life. It doesn't say that.
I think he says, I'll see you at mom's house.
No. Actually, he says, how's your ma? And Glenn Hansard's like, she's fucking dead.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah. So it's just a cool way to introduce the movie. And then, immediately after that, there's another scene, and it's just Glenn Hansard standing there with his acoustic guitar playing and singing the song.
Yeah.
And then the woman, she comes up, and she's watching him sing. And it's really cool, interesting, and fun, and, totally into what these characters are going to be doing, right?
Okay.
But then the rest of the movie is just these fucking slow, maudlin, goddamn acoustic dirge fucking songs. It's so sad. All of these songs are such downers. And it's
Falling Slowly didn't capture your heart?
Listen, it's just not my thing. It's just not, I like sad music too, but my sad music is not a dude and an acoustic guitar or two people and an acoustic guitar and a piano or whatever. I like my sad music to be noisier, or more dynamically interesting, like the Velvet Underground or the Cure or things like that. It's just not the kind of music that I'm interested in, right? And then so to have the whole movie is just basically a series of music videos for this band, right? It's just we're making.
No, it isn't.
It really is. It really is. There's a stretch of the movie where he gives her a CD player with some tracks that he'd been working on. And one of the tracks doesn't have any words. And he's like, why don't you write some words for it, right? So then there's a scene of her. It's just like a long tracking shot of her walking down the street with this portable CD player, listening to it on headphones, and singing the lyrics that she's come up with to the song, right? And it's just the whole song this whole song that she has written, or that the two of them have written. She's written the words, right? And we're just watching. It's a music video. It's watching this song, right? And then immediately after that, we cut to him singing a different song, and it's like him reliving all of these old home movies with his ex-girlfriend who cheated on him, and she's like the reason why he writes all of these sad songs, because she cheated on him and broke his heart. And so it's like an 8-minute stretch of these one song and then the next song back to back. And they're both so sad. And by the time it was over, I wanted to slit my fucking wrists.
Ugh.
I could not handle it. And then immediately after that, they go to they decide they're going to record these songs together. So they need some more musicians. So they meet these other musicians playing on the street, and they get invited to some sad sack musician party. And then there's just a party, an alleged party, where there's like 20 musicians crammed into a room, and they're just taking turns singing these depressing ass songs. It's like the worst party I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't even with this. I don't even know how to judge the quality of this movie because there's
so many sweet moments between the two leads. It's this will they, won't they get together kind of thing, and it's done through all these great songs. They're great songs.
I see. This is the thing. Like
that soundtrack is fantastic. They made a Broadway musical based on it.
Yeah, great.
A hit, giant hit.
Cool. I will never go see that.
Christine, who's the girl who plays the bad guy in The Penguin?
Kristen Milotti.
She played the girl on Broadway.
Okay,
it was great. I went and saw it at the Smith Center. At the beginning of the show, you could go up and drink Guinness. It was like a functional bar. And you could go drink Guinness, and they're all jamming and playing.
Jamming. Yeah, that's how I describe it. See, I don't know. Like I said, I don't. So much of what all the movie is a showcase for these songs, right?
But it's like a non-traditional musical too.
I actually do really I do admire like the skill of the filmmaking and points, right? Because like I was thinking about Kneecap, right? Where the energy of the filmmaking in Kneecap perfectly matches the energy of the band, right? Like the whole thing is super frenetic and crazy, and that's just the energy that the band has, right? So this movie, the energy of the band is like, it's just a dude with an acoustic guitar. It's like got holes in it, and it's just like everything is really lo-fi, and so the movie matches the energy of the music perfectly. And I really admire that as far as movie making goes. But like, man, the movie's 85 minutes long. Okay, it's less than an hour and a half long, and there are multiple songs that you hear in their entirety multiple times over the runtime of this movie.
There is?
Yeah. Like where you just like you're hearing the same song multiple times, different at least two different songs you hear in their entirety multiple times over the runtime of this movie. And it's only 85 minutes long. It's just this doesn't really feel like a full movie. And it just doesn't. It doesn't really feel like they had. If you had made this as a half-hour short, where here are 4 songs by this awesome band, we think you'll like them. That would be way easier for me to take. Where it's just like, because I don't like the music, I can't stand sitting through this movie like where the whole thing is just listening to the music. There's not really a lot going on other than these songs. So if you don't like the songs, then what the hell is this movie for? It's nothing.
How sad, Ken.
I agree. My worst fears were listen, all of our listeners out there, please just pretend you never heard this. You don't have to talk to me about this ever. Like I understand, okay? I'm broken inside or something, and I don't like your sad dude with an acoustic guitar. I just don't like it. I'm sorry, okay? I can't handle it. So we don't have to talk about this. You can look at me with pity if you want, and I understand. It's great. Like, okay, don't worry about it. Ken's just broken. I'm cool with that. That's the way it is. But this music is just not for me, and because the music is not for me, I can't really do anything with this movie.
Oh. All right, Ken. So what are we going to give once? A pass, pirate, or pay?
So I don't feel comfortable giving this movie a pass.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, like I said, I do think that there is some good movie making here. And based for the fact that the 2 lead actors aren't really actors, I guess Glenn Hansard is an actor as well as a musician, but he's mostly a musician.
Right.
But these 2 actors who are not really actors, they give credible performances, and the like will they won't they romance is actually a like a believable question. You don't actually know what's going to happen between the two of them. So I think there's stuff in this movie that is worthwhile. And if you like this kind of music, I'm sure this movie will be wonderful for you.
I think that's fair for Ken.
Yeah.
Like, not my cup of tea.
Right.
But well done anyway.
Right, exactly. So for me, I'm giving Once a Pirate. Just because...
Oh, that's very fair of you.
Yeah, like it's just right there in the middle for me, where it's just like, I can understand why people love this thing. It makes perfect sense to me, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, so, I am an emphatic pay.
Yes, I was sure.
Always have been. Yeah, I have seen every iteration of this, and I'm going to see more of it. And it's been like, what, 20 years? When did it come out?
2007, so 18 years.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well... All right, Ken.
Yeah, like I said, I was afraid and my fears were justified. The thing that I was afraid was going to happen is exactly what happened.
All right, Ken. So next week we will be doing EFUS, which is in theaters now.
Okay.
We will be doing Bad News Bears from the 1970 whatever.
Okay.
And
the original Damn Yankees.
The original musical Damn Yankees.
That's right.
All right, that'll be fun.
Let's do it.
Baseball, Ray.
It's opening day this week or whatever.
Yeah,
apparently, it's what they tell me. I stopped following baseball.
Good to do baseball.
Yeah, let's do perfect timing.
All right.
Love it. See you next week.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to Past Pirate Pay. This episode was produced by the one and only Andy Morris. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. We'd hate for you to miss out on all the fun. Curious about where to stream the movies we talked about? Head on over to pastpiratepay.com. We've got everything listed with handy links on where to watch. You can also join the conversation on our Facebook page or stalk our cinematic musings on Letterboxd. Links are on the site. Got a movie or a TV show you think we should review? Fill out the contact form, or this is cool, you can even text us right through the episode player on our website's front page. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Until next time, keep watching, keep rating, and keep it past Pirate Pay.